She made her India debut a good 11 years ago. She is now considered a veteran, but now also known for plying her trade in T20 cricket across the globe. She is an all-rounder par excellence, someone who's played with a lot of distinction for her teams in franchise cricket, and of course, has played for India as well. In the news at the moment, because of what has happened at the WPL auction, the third highest bid that we saw at the 2026 WPL auction at 2.4 crore. It is the UP Warriors that have got Shikha Pandey. Shikha, thank you so much for speaking to India today. I know that your talent and the kind of money that you've drawn does not surprise me personally, but as you know, it has taken a lot of people by surprise simply because what happens in cricket, as you know, anyone who's playing international cricket are usually in the news. So you're just looking at those names. Because I think the last time you played was 2023. Maybe because of that, a lot of people who don't follow women's cricket may not have known that here is an all-rounder. And you know, all-rounders go at a premium, can go at that price. But you know, you've got at almost 6 times your base price. Firstly, tell me, were you surprised? Were you expecting it when the bidding was happening? What was going through your mind?
Firstly, thanks a lot for having me, sir. I was I was anxious the whole day before,
Mm.
and I'm someone who stays in the moment. So I just told myself, whatever happens, happens. I had a very good team in Delhi Capitals. I really thoroughly
Yes.
enjoyed playing in that setup, and I was hoping that I would go back to them. But then, like how the auction whole auction works out, it works out in different ways. Um, Firstly, to be very honest, I don't look at the price tag. I just look at
Mm.
how I actually followed the auction. I wasn't following the first few rounds, but then when my name came in, I was in the other room. My mother was watching very intently, and then I kind of joined in. I was happy that there were two teams which went on, and that's how the price tag increased. I was happy that I was being valued, which is what a cricketer wants sometimes. And about the price tag, I'm not pretty sure. With women's cricket, it is slightly different. The kind of eyeballs that men's cricket gets and the media attention, it's not at par when it comes to women's cricket.
Mm.
And if people were following women's cricket, probably they would know.
I agree. I completely agree. Anyone who watches the Women's Big Bash or the Super Smashers or the Women's Caribbean Premier League would have known what value Shikha brings to the table. But because you mentioned you were watching the entire auction very closely, and I know that you know you are a big cricket pundit as well, apart from being just a player. So I'm going to ask not Shikha Pandey but Shikipedia then to tell us. By the way, before I ask you that question, where did this name come from? Who gave you this name, and what's the reason behind?
So I'm actually I love watching cricket. I've probably gotten it from my father. He's a huge
Mm.
cricket fanatic. As a kid growing up, I know when we wouldn't have power supply at home, I remember going along with him with the transistor, walking on the road and
Mm.
listening to the comms. So huge cricket buff that way, and I watch any kind of cricket that happens. And uh, so the name was given by Jemmy because
Mm.
she thought I knew everything about cricket, not just that, a lot of other general knowledge stuff as well. I was studious
Mm.
at school, and so she along with that whole gang, Smriti, were like, "No, you're Shikipedia," and they just gave me the name, and it stuck.
Okay, since you talk about Jemmy, a couple of things I want to ask you about. Firstly, if anyone follows Shikha on social media, they'll know that probably Jemmy and Shikha share a very close bond. So tell us a bit about that friendship. You know, how did that develop? And also, is I know you've gone for a great prize. You are going to give your best to the UP team, but that also breaks your partnership with Jemmy. You know, at the Delhi franchise. So speak to us a bit about you and the bonding that you share with Jemmy.
So there's this funny story. The last time when the auction was happening in 2023, we were playing the World Cup, and it was my comeback year. And I didn't play the first two games, so I was not really bothered about the auction. Uh, I was more worried about playing the World Cup, getting a
Mm.
chance to perform, getting an opportunity. So when the auction was happening, the whole team was in the team room watching the auction live, and I hadn't joined them. I was reading a book, or probably I was watching something on Netflix, and I wasn't really following the auction. So I had switched off my phone. Like I said, I did get a little anxious, but I had switched off my phone. And then when I switched it on, I had like 12 or 13 missed calls from Jemmy and few more missed calls from other friends of mine. And there were like 20 odd missed calls. And then I call her back and she says, "Yeah, you're in my team." And I'm like, "Oh, no, it's fun. Demi is really a nice teammate, and she's someone who I'll remember not just for what she is on the field. I share a good friendship with Jemmy, and I'm really happy for how she did during the World Cup after what she had to face during the initial few rounds. So really happy for her, and also happy for India. We won the World Cup at last. So
Yeah.
so good.
I actually want to talk to you about that World Cup. I'll get to that. But I go back to that question, which I started with. Analyze the auction for us. According to you, if you were a cricket pundit and not a player participating in the auction, which has been the biggest surprise for you, in the recent WPL auction? Alisa Healy going unsold is being spoken about. Alana King going unsold is being spoken about. But according to you, it could be a steal or it could be somebody going unsold.
Honestly, because I'm still a player, I wouldn't
Hmm.
want to put that pundit's hat on. I have huge
Yeah.
respect for people who do it. For example, Ashwin when I was still playing, and Dinesh Karthik when he was still playing. Probably I'm not as professional as them. I was indeed following the auction, but I think it's not right for me to be saying it, but because I've not got into the dynamics yet. But then there were few buys which were, and like I said, how the auction dynamic works. There are
Hmm.
few buys that people thought would go into crores that didn't happen. Someone who uh, someone who people didn't expect to go for that kind of money did attract that money. So I wouldn't say that, but I feel for the players, not just for everyone keeps talking about international
Hmm.
players and how they go and so, but people don't really talk about the domestic players, and which is sad because I play domestic cricket, I know how hard domestic players toil, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure not just one, two teams can be added because we have the talent for those many teams and those many domestic players.
Okay, that's a lovely, lovely thought. I'm sure, via this interview, people that are in charge probably might give it a thought or two. But as I believe, there is a
Yes.
school of thought in the BCCI that is thinking about it going into the future. But because you talk about domestic cricket, I want to take your personal example. Not one, you playing a lot of domestic cricket. The other, I think the last time you played for India was 2023, the T20 World Cup. That was also your comeback. But explain to us this emergence of these professional leagues across the globe that are happening, the role that IPL teams are playing by having franchises there, and how much has it helped you professionally and personally to be in the thick of things? You can, work as hard, you can dream as hard, but if you're not playing top level cricket, sometimes your level can drop a bit. So people noticing your level being right up there, even though not playing for India. Just talk to us about that those leagues that you play in.
I would say the culture has still not gotten into women's cricket as it is prevalent in men's cricket. Men's cricket, you see
Hmm.
a lot of players actually not accepting national contracts and only playing, franchise cricket. It is not the same in women's cricket, I would say.
Hmm.
But now you can see that a lot of players who are going around the world playing franchise cricket. You cited me as an example. There's Amanda Jade Wellington. She had also gone and played in Canada. There's Laura Harris, again, a really good
Hmm.
player. She goes around playing. So I guess for players who are not who are not being favored by the national selectors, they have ways to go. And I find
Hmm.
this really good because the more leagues you play, the more eyeballs you attract, and the
Hmm.
more you can work towards your case. So that's just my thinking, and I think for me it's basically my love for the sport.
Hmm.
Even now when I play, I try learning, I try getting better, and I've been actually very lucky to have been able to play so many franchise tournaments, and the friendships that I've made along the way, I value them a lot. And like I said, I love playing cricket. So as long as I'm mentally and physically fit and I'm loving what I'm doing, I continue to
Yeah.
do that.
Had this professionalism in women's cricket not come about at the right time, would you have, I don't know whether you were entitled to, but would you have taken the option of continuing with the service and not opted out after your short service commission?
It's a very difficult uh, question to answer because
Hmm.
In October 2022, I was asked whether I would want to continue because I was, no, sorry, October 2021, I was asked whether I would want to continue because I was commissioned in June 2012 and I was finishing 10 years in 2022, June 2022. And I said no. And I had a central contract then. And by the time I retired, I didn't have a central contract, neither was I employed with Air Force. So it was a leap of faith. And very honestly, I got back into the India team in 2023, just before the WPL auction. And I was really doing well in the domestic circuit. And then WPL happened. So I'm just giving you an example about how women cricketers do not really have employment opportunities. With men's cricket, you have the corporate trophy, you have so many other avenues, which is not the same with women's cricket. And that's why I kept harping on adding a few more teams into the WPL, because then if I get that amount as an uncapped player as well, I'm sorted. The domestic match fee still for women cricketers is not is I can't even tell you how much it is. So there are ways to go. There's an under 23 tournament that BCCI has introduced, which is really good because I have had friends who I have played under 19 tournament with, and then they left because after an under 19 you have to graduate to seniors, and people who couldn't did not have the under 23 tournament. There's an under 16 tournament that has been introduced. So things are getting better, but there are ways to go. There are more things to do. So to answer your question, I don't know. It was a leap of faith. I've taken a lot of leap of faiths. I was an engineering graduate. I passed out in 2010. I said no to multinational companies, and I took a year off. I come from a middle class family, and for my father and my mother, they couldn't really understand what I was trying to do. But then I got lucky. I had my sister, and she was the one who persuaded them. So I guess I've been very lucky throughout my cricketing journey. I've taken a few very bold decisions, and I just hope me getting this contract or me getting this price tag. There are a lot of senior cricketers who are still toiling hard on the domestic circuit, and I got a messages from a few of them, and they said it's so nice to see that your hard work is being paid off, because sometimes you can get neglected, but you have WPL where the franchise wants to win and they want the best player to play. So I'm really happy about that.
Those are incredible insights, and you can only get such insights for someone who's seen the highs of playing for India, then sometimes the lows of not really being part of the Indian team, and then with professional cricket coming across. My only advice to you is that you have taken many leaps of faith, as you said, in your life. Maybe after you're done playing, you can take another leap of faith and become a cricket pundit as well. Follow something what Ravichandran Ashwin has done. But that's for another time. You still have years to play. I'm going to get to the Women's World Cup now. And I want to know from you, I remember you were part of that 2017 campaign when you guys came so close and yet so far. So talk to me now. You weren't part of the team, but then it was that same formidable opposition that, comes in Australia. And then even if you had gone past Australia, the fear of finals, you had gone past Australia that time, fear of the final. So the semis and the finals, tell me the kind of emotions that you felt while watching it on TV.
I was so happy. Firstly, when the three losses happened, I was a little disappointed, but then God has its own ways. I firmly believe in that. And whatever happened. We got to the semi-final. The kind of knock that Jemmy played, I mean, we have spoken about it before. That was a knock for the ages. Probably people who were at the stadium can say I was there moment for them. It happened in 2017 as well. We were so close to winning it in 2017, and people said in 2017 when we just finished as runners up that this is going to be the watershed moment and all of that. But it didn't. The growth didn't really happen that way. I'm hoping that this World Cup win, not just for the players, it has gotten them a lot of recognition, which is really good. But I'm just hoping that the women's team winning the World Cup, the Indian women's team winning the World Cup, is going to play a huge role in the development of not just women's cricket in India, but women's sport in India. I just hope Shafali Verma doesn't have a 16-year-old Shafali Verma doesn't have to go to an academy and act as a boy. I hope all of that doesn't happen. I hope many more girls can sit with their parents, have a fair conversation about taking up cricket professionally. I'm a 90s kid. I know I couldn't sit with my parents and say, I want to take up cricket professionally. My parents were very supportive, and I got lucky, but not many 9-year-old kids at my age were. So I'm just hoping that with this win, with the media attention that we've gotten with. You're talking about 2017 World Cup. Not many people know that it was the first time that all the matches of the 2017 World Cup were televised. So,
Yeah.
so that's huge. So if we are going to be watching a lot many female role models on the telly, and we have women's cricket on the telly, there's that's another thing. With franchise cricket, you are watching your if you want debate, you have to see it first. So if
Yeah.
I'm able to watch so many female role models playing cricket, I can have a fair conversation with my parents, and I'm really happy for that 5 or 10 year old kid who can sit with their parents, a female a girl who can have this conversation and say that I want to take a professional cricket. Papa, please support me. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that change will come about. But I also need to give you guys credit. And I remember, I'm not saying it now that you weren't part of the team. I remember one of the interviews you did after 2017, and you said, you know what, we've reached this far primarily because of all the players that have played before us. They deserve the credit for us having reached the final. So in that sense, that's an extension. So it's players like you and many others who contributed to the women's team, which is why they've reached. So in that sense, I know you weren't there, but there were a few other players. There was Anjum there was Mitali there was Julan there. Did you like the entire gesture of the team, including them in their celebration?
Yeah, I mean, that's but obvious. I mean, that is
Yeah.
expected. Not just that, even I saw another clip where in Jemmy, when they had gone to meet the president, she actually spoke about, and she spoke about the contribution of the former women cricketers.
Mm.
Sometimes we tend to forget that they were the ones who traveled in unreserved railway bogies. They traveled in the train unreserved, and they didn't get paid if they wanted to go on
Yeah.
tours. I've heard stories from Juludi where she would tell that if they wanted to go on tours, they had to shell out money out of their own pockets. And I've heard stories of so many good cricketers who had to leave cricket because they didn't have the money to play cricket. So listening to all those stories, probably my generation, we got very lucky because when I got into the India team in 2016, I think it was that
Mm.
the contracts came into being, and it's gotten better. So all of that, all of what Shanta ma'am did or Purnima Rao did, all of them that they did, Diana ma'am did. It's just I'm just taking three names. There's this whole list of players who played just for the passion that they had for the game. They didn't play for
Mm.
the money. They didn't get the money. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy, and I'm sure that they would be so happy that we have at last won the World Cup, and hopefully this is the start of something great for, like I said, not just for women's cricket but women's sport in India.
Okay. Before I wrap up, there's one other very fascinating thing about Shikha that I must share with my viewers because we often talk, because, in men's cricket, and we have a lot of conversation in men's cricket at the moment, there is this talk about Virat Kohli, 36, but look at him at the age of 36. How fit is he? He's still competing with the youngsters and all of that. I'm taking nothing away from Virat. He's a supremely fit player, but remember, he's a batter. I'm talking to a 36-year-old, even though I don't intend to, reveal your age, women's age on television. But the fact remains. And yet she's a fast bowling all-rounder. Tell us a bit about your fitness, because I think maybe this is in a way compliment to your fitness that everyone, and because no one talks about it, maybe because they all expect you to perform at that level at this age, being a fast bowling all-rounder. Tell us how much time you dedicate towards being fit and competing with the 22-year-olds or the 19-year-olds of the world.
Honestly, I had a living example when I was opening the bowling with Juludi. She also played till she was about
Yeah.
40, I guess. So I had an example that I could follow. Also, again, the Air Force bit, the discipline that had come into my training, partly it was there because of my Air Force training. A huge thanks to uh, I don't know if you've heard about her. There's Tracy Fernandez. She was the physiotherapist with the Indian team first. Now she's no longer
Mm.
with the team. And Mr. Naresh. They have a setup here which is pretty close. They have a rehab and a training center, and I can't thank them enough for all of that I've gotten. I wouldn't say it is at par with COE or whatever,
Mm.
but they played a huge role. There have been days that I sometimes, when you get angry about something, you kind of want to go hit the gym, but I need to understand that I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
So I've had fair few conversations with those guys, and a huge credit to what I am today. My nutritionist that I work with, Tenzin, it's all because of them, and I feel. I'm not just saying this for the sake of saying this, but I feel I'm very lucky in the sense that the
Mm.
mentors that I've gotten, and the people that I've surrounded myself with. And they have been a huge reason for what I am today. And the very reason why I continue playing cricket, because sometimes when you spoke about selections, when you don't get selected, you have these self doubts creeping in, and you think you're not good enough. But then things like what happened in the auction makes you believe that the hard work that you've put in through different situations. And I still remember I have this nice poster. The situations that people put you in is not in your hand, but your reaction and how you respond to them and how you get out of those situations, it surely is. It's very easy to say sometimes. I'm not able to follow what I've written there, but I try my best. I sit down, reflect. I'm a huge believer in gratitude, and I reflect. There's flexibility, and then I think, what can I do now in this situation? And I try to do what I can, and I am glad that it's working out.
Yeah, as they say, good things happen to good people. Finally, before I let you go, where is Shikha Pandey in her mental state right now? Is she happy playing what she's doing? She's happy just enjoying her cricket as she does? Or is there something, there's a burning desire, I want to come back into the Indian team and compete with the youngsters, even though a lot of them are emerging? Or you're saying, no, whatever comes my way is fine. Where is Shikha Pandey right now?
Every time I get out of the field, even if I wouldn't mention this to anyone, I don't have to mention this. And people who know me know me. And every time I get onto the field, I put my 100%, whether it's a club game, it's a practice game. And that's something that I pride on. I want to be the hardest worker in the team. And the cap is always there in the back of the mind. And I don't even have to make myself, I don't need to remember it because it's always there. It's just about what's in my hands. What can I control is what I would try to do, and that's how I've been. I'm playing for the happiness that the 5-year-old kid had when she started playing cricket, and that keeps me grounded. That keeps me in the present, and that's something that I would want to follow till the time I play cricket.
Okay, that is lovely advice. I think all of us can take it no matter which sphere of life we are in. Next time I struggle to go to office, maybe these are the words that I'll remember, that think about it, being a 5-year-old who loves cricket and go to work. But thank you, Shikha, for taking out time, speaking to us, being so candid about it. Here's wishing you all the very best in what you do, in how you perform on the field, and may better things come about in the coming years. Thank you once again.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.